Hello everyone, this is Overmind and welcome back to another StarCraft 2 replay analysis. Today we're going to be watching a Gold League Protoss player play versus a Terran player. We're going to try and give our Protoss player some hints, tips, or tricks to improve his play. So let's go ahead and introduce our players right now and get on into this game. Spawning down on the bottom right side of King Sejong Station, Ladder Edition. In red we have our Protoss hero and member of the Overmind army, it is Rodisme, chrono boosting out his probes. And spawning up at the top left side of our map in blue, we have our Terran player, it is juanitoOo, with a very cute little Carbot symbol there on the side of his command center. We're mostly going to ignore our Terran player because, let's face it, we're only going to focus on times when his units are interacting with Rodisme or somehow affect Rodisme directly. If he wants help with his build, he can send me his own replay. Now the build that Rodisme is about to do is he's going to go one gate with Robo into Expand, build a Colossus Den, and then get as many Colossi out as possible. Which in theory sounds like not a terrible build versus Terran, right guys? Ugh. So many Marines. But what we're gonna see is that this could really be helped by starting off 2 gas. Here we have a Stalker building, there's a Mothership Core queued up, there it is, right there, and we're gonna delay our Warp Gate research pretty significantly. Also, keep in mind that because we have a bunch of units that we want to make, we're gonna continuously produce Stalkers, we're gonna eventually get our Warp Gate research, and we're gonna start making Colossi out of our Robo. We're gonna need a lot of gas, so I think working on the gas timings here is not a terrible goal. Here we have the second one thrown down here. I see a lot of Protoss players throw down 2 gases just slightly later and then put 2 probes each in there and then eventually fill it out to be 3 probes each. I think that might be a better option for this build. Might make things go just a bit faster. Here we have our Expo. Oh look, there's a little Stalker dance there, you guys. Thank you so much for that, Rodisme. You are always so festive and cheerful. But anyway, getting back to the game. We have our expansion down here. We have our 2 units up here. Everything looks pretty alright. The gas timing's a little bit off, but generally speaking, the idea behind it is good. The thing that really bothers me about this build, not about this build, about the choice of this build, is that there's no scouting. I'll click this Stalker, I'll click his vision. This is the furthest out of the base a unit has been thus far. And his vision only goes to here. There's been no scouting. None thus far at all. So he has no idea what his Terran opponent is up to. Now, versus Mass Marine, this build probably would be pretty solid. I mean, we have our Robo building now. We're gonna get Colossi, which is gonna be great versus Mass Marine. Here we have a bit of a supply block as well, want to avoid that. But generally speaking, the idea behind the build, pretty dang good. But it could lose to a lot of things too, right? For example, right now there are double proxy barracks building reactors and making Marines. If juanitoOo ran up this ramp and killed off our Mothership Core right now, that would be incredibly, terribly, painfully bad. If juanitoOo scouted with that Reaper and went, oh, okay, and somehow managed to see that he was going Robo with Colossus, and just switched to making, say, Mass Marauder, that would be bad. Because we're making a couple units that are very powerful and strong, but not a whole lot of units, drop play could be quite powerful, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as well in terms of the base layout, and why drop play might be strong here. But there are a lot of things that we could really do better or to minimize the risk of those things happening, and one of them is scout. And if we scout and know what's coming, we can respond appropriately. I also think it would be nice if he scooted his Mothership Core, say, back over around the top of this ramp. That way it would be close enough to both of the Nexuses that it could quickly move to Photon Overcharge, wouldn't be as vulnerable to getting sniped or anything like that, and hopefully wouldn't be in too much trouble. Now here we have bunkers building right outside our base, and we still haven't moved beyond here. Here's the Rod Cam again, still no further down the ramp. Well, maybe a little bit. I think this Dancing Stalker might have shuffled over a little bit accidentally. But by and large, no vision. Here's our first scout moving out now at almost the 9-minute mark. It's a long time to go without vision, and he's not going to spot any of this going on here. This is a lot of Marines. Fortunately, we are producing our first Colossus, which is good. Finally got him on the way. We are mining with 2 assimilators down here and 2 down here. We're getting our upgrades. Here's our overcharge. I think if Juanito had decided to snipe this mothership core, it would have been a scary moment. There's a little bit of fighting in the photon overcharge for Juanito, which, I don't know. Here we have our first Colossus done. He is going to be very well positioned here at the top, so that he's sort of out of range unless there's a scan, and then can be microed back. Very cool, very good. We're starting to be able to produce things out of our warp gates consistently. We're adding on additional warp gates, making those Colossi. Good. Lots more Marines outside our base, though, and I want to go ahead and note that we still haven't seen any of this. We have no idea that this exists. This is a big problem. This could be a meching player who, you know, flies Widow Mines into our base. There could be a lot of things hidden right outside our base, but we have no idea, because we haven't scouted. Speaking of our base, and of drop play in general, I want to note that most of our structures are powered only by a single pylon. We are supply blocked here again a little bit, so we built 3 up here, which aren't going to power much except for maybe this. We have this 1 pylon over here. I guess I'll focus on that a little better. There. 1 pylon, 4 gateways there. 1 pylon, robo, 2 gateways. This pylon powers these 2 gateways. Looks like we're going to go ahead and move out across the map. Having not scouted, I think if Juanito had decided to just wait and then head on into the base, that would have been very scary. Here there's going to be an engagement, and of course those Colossi will be quite good versus our mass Marines. Remember that this build is very good here. Having this mothership core snipe would be incredibly painful, but instead we get just the sort of run into the base command from Juanito, who is crushed immediately. Now we see the bunkers, now we see the mass Marines. Now we're going to do some damage to stuff that's right outside our base. Oh, but as I was saying, I don't like that there are so many buildings that are powered by only a single pylon. I know that our protoss does it, but we don't necessarily want to lose power to something like drop play where they come and kill off that 1 pylon and then 4 of our gateways depower. So definitely back up your pylons. Here we're actually going to see a bunch of units march out across the map. These 2 stalkers heading off on their own, this mothership core being away from everything. Definitely want to group these up because remember it is the Protoss ball of death, not the Protoss things moving around the map by themselves. It's very important that we keep our units together because together we are strong. However, they are sort of forming up. They're going to attack right here. We have a slow there, we have some units attacking. This is actually going to be the end of the game. In just a moment, I swear. There we are, this is the end of the game. Of course that went quite well once we had our Colossi up and going, but there were a number of things that could be improved. Proxy pylons here. Good, good, good. So generally speaking, this worked out quite well. Rodisme, if you want to adjust your gas timings on this build, I think that would be great. If you want to scout, that would be amazing. I absolutely recommend scouting pretty well 100% of the time, no matter what you're doing, because knowledge is power. Over here, try and put pylons so that they'll power multiple things, or so that pylons will overlap a little bit. I know that this would be a good vision pylon, but having this depower would be devastating. For a long time, this robo and this gateway here were powered by a single pylon. Definitely don't want that to depower. 1 pylon here, 1 pylon here. Double up on those pylons. It'll help you out a lot for things like drop play, or anything sudden and scary where an attack runs in and runs out. So thanks so much for watching, guys. If you want me to analyze one of your games, send them to NoobCrafted@gmail.com, and make sure you request an analysis specifically, because otherwise I'll just put them up as a show matchy type game, and they'll be for entertainment purposes. If you want a game cast just for entertainment purposes, also send your game to NoobCrafted@gmail.com, and I'll cast it and put it up on my channel. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good night.